Arcade racing games was all the rage during the 2000s, and EA is not a company to miss the trend. Being already established with street racing games through the Need for Speed series, EA also wanted to get a piece of the rally market. If you're familiar with me, you know that I should have an extensive knowledge of EA's entire library, but even this game avoided my radar until now. Shox is a game that seems to be mostly forgotten through time, but what we have here is a very competent racer that mixes elements from Sega Rally and Ridge Racer. At the core of the game, you'll race on various tracks all based on 3 different environments which consist of arid, jungle, and ice. The levels all look really nice and have quite a lot of unique assets both in the background and other moving elements such as helicopters, airplanes, hot air balloons, and waterfalls. The level design is well made and the tracks are all mostly fun to race around. The lack of a map does make it a little bit confusing than other racing games, but overall the layout is fun and varied. The cars also look pretty good with reflective surfaces, cosmetic damage, and dirt buildup, and they all feature both third-person and bumper cam angles. Particle effects are also nicely done, with dust and snow flying when vehicles drive over it. The handling is incredibly drift-friendly, and it's very easy to put the car on the side and take corners. The closest I can describe the feeling is something like a mix between Sega Rally and Ridge Racer. While it's unable to surpass those games, it does come somewhat close, and the combination does feel quite good, if perhaps a little bit too on the easy side. Surfaces also have different properties, and you will need to adjust your driving depending on if you're on gravel, tarmac, mud, and snow. There are also many unique cars to choose from with all kinds of licensed brands such as Ford, Porsche, Mitsubishi, Mini Cooper, and Toyota to name a few. Performance is also great and loading times are reasonable. The game also features a 4-player split screen mode, which, while I was unable to try it out due to lack of controllers, I did check out 2-player split screen and it looked pretty good and ran very well. So, why wasn't this game a big hit and seems to be mostly forgotten? Well, unfortunately I would say that this game came very close to being a hit, but... The first notable issue is that the AI has some incredibly annoying rubber banding. Basically, it seems that the game has been tweaked so that the pack of the opponents always stays close to you to make sure that the races are as exciting as possible. While this works well if you get into a major crash and don't want to restart the entire race, as the opponents will literally wait for you to catch up, but sadly the same kind of behavior also comes if you drive really well, where suddenly the AI cars just don't have to follow the same laws of physics as you can, and suddenly they just increase their acceleration way above what your car is able to do. I understand that they want to keep the game engaging regardless of skill level, but sometimes winning in Shox really boils down to luck, and it can even be beneficial by not aiming to be in the top until the very last lap, which is just kind of a weird balance that you don't want to have in a racing game. The game also has a unique first time feature, which is basically short time sectors where you can get cash payouts depending on how fast you clear a sector. This is similar to speed cameras in Forza Horizons, with the difference that this happens in the middle of the race. The problem with that is that this mechanic keeps repeating multiple times in each lap, and each time it gets initiated, a big HUD element appears telling you how you're doing, all while the music also changes to further make you feel like you need to floor it. And this gets very repetitive and it's kinda annoying, because great racing games strive to put you in the zone where your mind zens out and all that matters is you and the road. And these challenges do the opposite and become an extreme distraction. The in-game economy is also quite brutal, as getting the money to buy new cars takes quite a lot of grinding. There is an alternative and cheaper way where you can gamble your money on beating the car you want to unlock in a head-to-head. The problem is that the opponents get a head start, and often these tracks are very short and seemingly impossible to beat. Lastly, I think the presentation in the menus could also have been a bit better, as it's not as slick as it could have been. And the music isn't very memorable either. I think this game is a little bit of a hidden gem. Sure, it has some issues, but overall it's a great game to pull out for half an hour and to have some fun. I can imagine it being a smash hit when bringing it out for some split screen with a bunch of good friends. Wow, they really came close to making a great racing game here, but when it comes to something like a racing game, it's really the small details that matter, and this game has some details that really brings it down. It's a real shame, as otherwise Shox could maybe have been a respected series that may have still be ongoing to this day. If you play this game on an emulator, there's also a very clear benefit of increasing the resolution, as the game cleans up quite nicely. There are a few texture bugs though, but hopefully that can be sorted in a future update. Overall, I'm going to give this game a strong 7 out of 10. And thank you for watching my videos, and if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing, as it really helps with the growth of the channel, and of course ensures that you don't miss my next video. And with that, I will leave you now with a few minutes of gameplay. Until next time.